Previously, I asked 14 artists to turn my terribly drawn doodles into Ben 10 aliens that would become official members of my Kiri 14 Chaquetrix alien playlist roster. Today, we are doing a follow-up where we create another playlist of 14 aliens for the watch. This time with some new artists and some familiar faces from the first video. If you're going to enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, dropping a comment below saying which one of the aliens you're about to see is your favourite, and going and checking out the artists featured in this video with the links in the pinned comments. And now, without further ado, let's get right into it. It's hero time! So this time what I want to actually do different is I want to take the sketches that I gave people and then draw what I was imagining the alien to look like myself, so that way you can get an actual visual of what I was imagining versus what I got in the end. So, first up is Chaquetrix. This was done by Bleach, and this was the sketch I provided, and as you can see here with my illustration of it, I was imagining this kind of, I guess sort of this reptile-like creature that has sort of sauropod legs, this very spiky tail, spikes coming out of the body, this kind of frill on top of the head, 6 eyes, and then, like, the Chaquetrix is on like a collar, and, of course, as the name implies, there's this massive set of tusks that look like cactuses that come out of the front of the face. So, it's sort of well, I guess bioorganic is just organic, but it's an organic life form that's part meat, part plant, basically. And there was the idea that perhaps the animal is one thing, but then the cactus tusks are actually like a symbiotic life form that grows out of them. Sort of like how you have like cordyceps, where, you know, it's a fungus that takes control of insects, but instead it's a cactus that grows out of an animal, and like it siphons away their nutrients in return for, you know, becoming a defensive tool for the alien. So that was my idea for Chaquetrix. I'm very excited to see what Bleach actually did with that, so let's have a look. Oh my goodness. Okay, well this is a very different illustration, and this is why it's good to have these versions that I make now, so that we can actually compare what I was imagining with what we get, which is unfortunately something that I did not do for part 1, but I guess if we do a part 3 in the future, I'll maintain this little trend. So, this is very different. It has proportions similar to that one Digimon. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put a picture of it on screen. This is so cool. Okay, so I'm trying to see where the actual sketch was translated. I think it was translated into the tail? That's like between the legs. It looks a little bit like a nutsack dangling between the legs, but I think it's meant to be the tail, because it's meant to look like that flower that some cactuses have. So, I see, yeah, the arms shoot out like spore clouds? Yeah, look, spores cause spikes to grow out of victim. Okay, so we're seeing that on the illustrations on the left. Is that Trombipulor? In the top left? That's Trombipulor getting a ship in. Oh, you poor fuck. Okay, so she can also shoot like a kaiju beam out of her mouth. Ivory fuels spike generation hunting species. Okay, so this illustration up here is like some kind of creature that Chaquetrix and this other alien have took down in order to get the ivory. Oh yeah, because we see, if you look at, yeah, so the skeleton here on the far right is the skeleton of this creature that they've took down. And so they've like took off the kind of spike things at the base of the neck. Okay, I see. So I'm just trying to dissect what all of this is. This is really interesting. So this alien, there's no lore provided with this one, so I've only got this visual to go with. So the alien eats ivory to fuel its spike generation powers. It uses spores to grow spikes on people, and it blasts the spores out of its cannons. I love how there's kind of like a spiky jacket over the torso. It's got like a very punk vibe, and of course, a lot of my aliens, I try and go for a punk vibe, so I'm very happy to see that done here. This is really cool. This is definitely better than my idea. Very different too. Next up is Speed Queen, who I gave to Trix. Yes, the Trix who made the Chaquetrix, or Chaquetrix, I don't know how you pronounce it. I am Spanish, so I feel like I should know how to say it, but I don't, to be completely honest. So, with Speed Queen, of course, because it was made by Trix, I was sort of hoping to get a waifu alien out of it. So the version that I made is kind of like this insectoid, almost kind of like, I imagine a mantis woman that can like run super fast on these big insectoid legs. So basically it's like Crash Hopper if Crash Hopper was a sprinter rather than I guess a leaper. So that was my idea, but I know Trix did say before I got to actually look at these that they haven't gone for a humanoid design, so I'm very interested to see what they've actually made, but this was my concept for it. So I guess let's see what they did with Speed Queen. Oh my god, this is so cool! What the hell is this? Whoa. It looks like a car scorpion thing. Oh, cool. A Rixaseer transformation? I don't know what this is, but it's so cool. It looks like a car and a scorpion. It's got like an umbrella for a tail. What is this thing? Like fish scales? It looks like a lobster almost as well. Let's have a look at the lore for this thing. It's very different from what I was imagining, but I see that the trademark V-stripe patterns that I like to put on my aliens has made its way onto the arms here. So yeah, let's have a look at what this actually is in the lore. Speed Queen. Species. Rixaseer. Homeworld. Regium Celerita 2. Description. A dragon-like creature which contains accelerating and decelerating particles in its arms. Ooh. Powers. Shoot particles. The accelerator and decelerator particles in their arms can be fired in arrow shapes that will stick to the ground. When they come into contact with any living being, these particles will stick to their skin. The effects of the particles are immediate. The yellow ones increase the speed and stamina, while the blue ones decrease them. Retractable umbrella tail. At the tip of their tail, there is a kind of retractable umbrella which they can open to glide. Whoa, so it's like Mary Poppins. That's brilliant. I see the illustration showing how the powers actually work. That's interesting. And you can see what the tail looks like when it's closed. We can also see Ben's version, Road King. Oh, that's cool. That name fits. That's something Ben would name an alien. And I like the colors used for it. Of course, a different color scheme because Chaquetrix corrupts colors. I'm glad that that was remembered here. Oh, this is really, really, really cool. And I see as well that what I was imagining as Speed Queen's leg has been converted into, well, I guess the arm of this species. So that's super interesting. There is a bit more lore here, so let's have a look at what this is. Lore. Millions of years ago, this species proclaimed itself the royalty of the speedster species. They believed that they should regulate the powerful species whose abilities are mainly based on speed. This is why after millions of years of evolution and technology, this species is now capable to produce particles that accelerate or decelerate the speed of other species, turning them into the kings and queens of speed. But in an ironic twist of fate, being able to produce the type of particles made them a target for the other species when they found out that they could collect and contain these particles in jars for their personal use, thus beginning the hunt for this species, which led to the development of umbrellas on the tips of their tails to glide away from their hunters. But not everyone wants to hunt and sell their particles. Those who do not share the vision that their ancestors of the past had of regulating speed sometimes host tournaments and races between speedsters, gliding above them while I'm so bad at reading. Gliding above them while filling the track with particles, making it more interesting. Basically, they wanted to nerf the speedsters, but they ended up like the ones who made the Mario Kart tracks. So they just make Mario Kart courses for speedsters. That's so fun. Oh, this is such a good alien, Trix. Well done. Well done. I'm nervous to see if people will make Chaquetrix redesigns of this, where they just give it tremendous boobs. Please don't do that, people of the internet. I beg, please. Leave her alone. Speed Queen's beautiful as she is. This is such a good design. Well done. Really, really, really well done. Now for my buddy Benji Mari. This one is Hyena Edition. So there's the original sketch. And what I went with, it's not very well drawn, but it's basically like a humanoid hunchback hyena with a long neck. And the idea of its powers are that it can, basically, so it has like spots all over its body like hyenas do. And it can shoot clones out of the spots. Kind of like the Spot from Marvel, where you know, the Spot can, like, open up portals with the spots on his body. This is similar, but it, like, shoots out alternate dimension clones of itself out of the spots. So it's kind of hard to get across, really, but the idea was just, you know, like, alternate universe Hyena editions shoot out of the spots. So it's kind of like a cloning ability, but technically it's, like, multi-dimensional access, I suppose. It's kind of like a weird in-between mix of the two. But that was my idea of Hyena Edition. I'm hoping that Benji went with a similar route for the powers, but I suppose whatever I get here is what will be made canon. I did have a conversation with them before, because they said they enjoyed the colors. And I said to him, oh, well, I hope there's some neon pink in here. And he sent me, what was it? I think it was the smug emoji or something. So I think there's going to be some neon pink. Let's have a look. Oh, wow, yep, there's the neon. Whoa. We actually went with a pretty similar body shape I'm seeing here. There we go. We both went for the kind of hunchback torso with a long neck, so that's good. Benji, you've read my mind here. With the pink as well. Oh, I love the plus symbol on the face. That's so smart. It's got 4 ears. Loads of teeth. Oh, this is awesome. You use the mane on the back of the neck the way I wanted you to as well, which is fantastic. Oh my god, I'm seeing the height comparison with Ben here. It's huge. She's a big alien. So, nighttime colors. Oh wait, so she like glows in the dark? Oh, that's cool. Hyena Edition Clone Pod. Minus Clone Pod. What's this then? Clone. Minus. Okay. Each have different roles. Minus, Tracker, Divide. Biter. Equals, Slasher, Multiply, Healer. Oh, cool! So it's like... The clones are like... it kind of reminds me of Soundwave from Transformers with... Like, the little... I can't remember what they're called. Is it Minicon? I can't remember. I know Minicon is a thing. I'm trying to remember if those are Minicon or something else. But it's like that where they're kind of like units that are inside the body that can be projected and they carry out various roles. That's interesting. Alright. There is lore for these guys, I believe. Hyena Edition. Species. Aditamentum lucihyena. Coming from the planet Admiridium. Thank you very much for including a way to pronounce that. This species relies on its duplicating ability to hunt. While being a lush planet sustainable for life, Admiridium is a very dark place, with the only light source being a dying star far away. Because of the low light levels, many species have evolved to have bioluminescent features. The Lucihyena is no different. Each clone is deployed, think of like throwing a Pokeball, set out to its designated purpose. One tracks their prey, the others following. Then, they and their clones, having a hive mind pack mentality, hunt by confusing their targets by rapidly circling them. The swirling of lights has proven to be an effective way to confuse many targets on their planet. If any clone or pod carrier is hurt during the fight, a clone is there to help heal those around it with its specialized healing saliva. So it's got Steven Universe healing spit. The pod carrier is able to sense, smell, hear, and see what its clones are doing using its multiple arms. Hands, nostrils, eyes, and ears. They are connected through an inherent psychic link. Okay, so the main body, the actual Hyena Edition body, is the pod carrier, and it can shoot out the other clones, and it can like psychically see through their senses and stuff. That's really cool. I love this. This is way cooler than my idea. Oh, I love the design for Minus. I would love to see full renders for the other ones' designs, but I imagine the way they all likely look based on the sketch on the bottom here is they all basically have the same body plan as Minus. They just have different abilities and symbols. But still, that is super duper cool. Well done, Benji. This is amazing. You blew my idea out of the water. And speaking of water, next up is Water Types Forever, who I gave Muscle Moth. And last time, me and Water had a little bit of a well, not a dispute, but I was imagining, because Water does a lot of very fun, like, humanoid designs, so I was imagining they were going to make a humanoid alien, and they didn't, but then they told me that this time they would make a humanoid, So I decided to, when making my illustration for Muscle Moth, not making a humanoid, so then we can kind of have the opposites. I don't know, it's just funny to me, personally, so I have made an alien. With my version of the design, I did not go humanoid. So, what I went with is basically this insect thing that has, like, 2 big, buff human arms, and the wings of the alien grow out of the arms, so it flies by, like, flapping its massive, muscly arms in the air. And that's really my concept. Because I knew that they were going to go for a humanoid this time, I kind of just wanted to make a joke alien design with this illustration here, so this isn't really what I was wanting, but it's just a joke that I made with the illustration here. So let's see what they actually went with. Oh my god, she's gorgeous! Oh, she's so beautiful! Oh, I love how the, because what I was imagining is, like, that bauble kind of thing was the tail, but you've used it as, like, a bun in the hair. That's so clever. Oh, her outfit's so cute. Oh, the wing shape is super cool. It's like a cape, almost. I see the wings can kind of shrink and grow based on the illustration on the left. I do like that I don't know if this was intentional or just, like, a slip of the mind, but I like that the fruit on the shirt is different across these illustrations. I like to think that every time she transforms, it's a different fruit for some reason. Or it reflects her mood. For some reason, she has shape-shifting clothing. Oh, I love the antenna on the face. And I see there's extra illustrations here showing that they forgot to put the Chaquetrix symbol on the design, but it was meant to go on the headband. So, that is fine. At least you corrected that mistake. Oh, this is so cool. Hercules and Atlas Moth biggest. One White Witch was bigger. Pollinators, gardeners, maybe. Mostly nocturnal. Some Hawk Moth elements. Interesting. So that's like design notes when making this. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, I don't have words. It's just such a beautiful design. See what I was saying? Water makes very beautiful women. She's so cute. I will say a critique is that her uniform doesn't really look like a hero outfit. She looks more like just a civilian. I think even with the Chaquetrix symbol on, it doesn't really get that impression across. But it's not bad. The outfit looks a bit too much like a civilian casual wear, but to be fair, some of my other aliens have that issue, so that's not really a problem for you specifically, Water. And it doesn't really take away from the design at all. Let's have a look at the lore. Hero name, Muscle Moth. Species, Latisatin or Latesian. Height, 10 foot or 3 meters. Weight, 2,000 ulbs or 1,136 kilograms. Wingspan, 25 feet or 7.6 meters when fully extended. Damn, some big wings. Powers, super strength, flight, mild plant growing ability, UV and infrared vision. Interesting. Okay. Info. On their jungle home planet, the Latesians are mostly farmers, and also prey to various predators. Oh, that's sad. Their brute strength and dense muscle fibers evolved to fight back against threats, but it is mainly used to move tons of dirt and rock so that crops and forests may be planted. The species have a natural instinct to defend plant life and fruit especially, making it their life purpose to maintain the forests and crops. This leads to them being quite serious, a contrast to Muscle Moth, who is quite energetic and joyful. Aww. Her wings are usually head-sized but can expand to 25 feet tip to tip, allowing for quick bursts of speed and flight. Her mass leads to her not being able to maintain flight for long, however, so this species also has evolved a sturdy layer of scales covering the whole body, naked to the eye. While native Latesians wear more warrior and farming clothes, the Chaquetrix has chosen an outfit more fitting to 1980s workout aesthetic, perhaps due to Kiri's active crime-fighting lifestyle and needing to keep herself and others smiling. Oh, okay, so the outfit has an actual lore reason for being casual wear. Well, in that case, I think you've solved my problem. If it's an intentional, thing to make her seem more casual and friendly, then I think that's very interesting. I'm glad that you've actually given that a lore implication. So, I take back my critique. She's so cute. Thank you, Water. She's a very welcome addition to the watch. Now is Zoe's alien, which was Geotor. And for this one, I imagined kind of like a woolly rhino kind of thing. where it's just this big shaggy body covered in hair. It's got these hooved legs. It's got kind of like a saddle on the back that the Chaquetrix symbol is on. And it has like a little tuft of beard hair that I added on. And it's got these massive... Well, there's massive horn and then these big spikes on the back. But knowing Zoe, that is not what has been done here. And I'm very excited to see what Zoe did do. Because when I was making this illustration myself, I thought, there's no way Zoe went down this route. And I'm very excited to see what she did instead. So let's have a look. Oh, she's so pretty! Oh my god, she's bright pink. Oh, I love the oversized forearms and hands. Zoe knows that I like those features in the design. The tail, oh, that, like the fluff is so sparkly. It's gorgeous. The sort of like stone cracking textures make it look like they're made out of like a statue. Interesting. This is so cute. This is really, really good. Okay, let's have a look at the lore for this one, because... oh, I see this is a true color version as well. Very good. Let's have a look at the lore. I'm very interested to learn more about this one. Let's have a look. So, lore. Geotor. Species, Tordiac. Planet, Taurus's galaxy. Despite being called a galaxy, it's not as vast as one might expect. It's a nebula resembling Greek temples, where the Tordiac reside. Powers. Intangibility, star manipulation, telekinesis, psychological manipulation, tide manipulation, element manipulation, especially fire, sharp horn, night vision, the ability to survive without breathing, and high speed, as fast as a shooting star. They can even transform into one. God, this is super cool. Weaknesses, individuals with an unstable psyche, psychological manipulation directed at them, their tail... Oh wait, sorry, okay. Individuals with an unstable psyche, psychological manipulation directed at them, their tail, and sunlight. They cannot tolerate too much light. Okay. Huh. Species lore. Tordiacs are living embodiments of the Taurus constellation. Unlike an ordinary bull, they display Kirin traits. As living constellations, they lack a true physical body and do not require food or drink. Oh, they're kind of like gems from Steven Universe as well. Steven Universe mentioned twice in one video? Oh dear god. They create stars and spread them throughout the galaxy. If you are lucky enough to see one of their shooting stars, your deepest psychological desires will come true, such as moving on from grief. Aw, that's very beautiful. That's a really interesting ability as well. These creatures are genuinely peaceful and can sense when someone is evil. Tordiacs sometimes visit random planets at night to protect innocent beings from bad people. They use their horns to stab wrongdoers, transforming the corpse into a star. So you better not be evil around them. That reminds me of Katamari Damacy, where they just roll up a load of people and objects and turn them into a fucking star in space. A Tordiac is born when the mother collects stars from the Taurus constellation, giving birth to the baby. It takes them 12 years to fully mature. When a Tordiac dies, they transform into stars, with 80% of their body becoming shooting stars. Zoe, that lore is absolutely beautiful. That is amazing. The powers are super interesting. The story about how they're born and how they die and like how they interact with other species is so interesting. And I like that you've kind of used them as a way to explain the shooting star legend and that whole phenomenon. That is so cool. You've done so much with an alien here. Like, you've made this like cosmic guardian kind of species. And my idea was just... it's a hairy thing with horns. Oh, Zoe, this is incredible. You've really done well there. Well done. Next up is Dinosaur, who I gave to Haunted Sniper. And this one was very intentional because, if you don't know, Haunted does like a lot of dinosaur artwork and does commissions for drawing dinosaurs and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make them draw me a dinosaur because clearly... that is their specialty. So I gave them Dinosaur, and my idea was kind of this raptor-like thing you see here. It has an oversized beak, kind of like, I can't remember what it's called, but there's some prehistoric avian pterosaur type thing that has this kind of beak shape. I'll see if I can find it and put it on screen. But because, obviously, dinosaurs are avian ancestors, I wanted to have this alien kind of reflect multiple aspects of different prehistoric bird-like animals. So it's got a feathered head, it's got this large beak, it's got these kind of On the arms, it has these sort of flaps of skin that look a little bit like prehensile, well, not prehensile, sorry, primitive wings. The legs are a little bit funky shaped, but they're meant to look a bit like chicken legs. And the tail, this is my favorite part, because the reason it's called Dino Sword is I imagined that it can kind of shoot molten metal out of the tail. So the tail is, if you've ever seen how they forge metal, when they cool it, I think they either dip it in water, or another method is there's like this big fan kind of machine that they press down and it pushes air out that cools the metal. I don't know if they actually use that for forging or if it's just for something else, but regardless, I'll put references on screen. And the idea was that Dino Sword's tail is made of muscles that can kind of push down, and it, like, whatever Dino Sword eats with its mouth is converted into molten metal. Well, if there's metal in it, then it, it takes the metal, turns it into molten metal, and the rest of the material is just digested. But the molten metal goes to the tail. The tail can then shoot out the molten metal, and as it comes out of the tail, it's cooled instantly, and it makes like a big construct. So the idea is that, Dino Sword can kind of eat metals and then create swords on its tail that it can fight with, was my idea. And I felt like that was really interesting and creative. I doubt that Haunted has gone the same route, because that's very oddly specific. But maybe. Let's have a look. Whoa! Okay, we went for very different dinosaurs. This is a T-Rex. Hell yeah. Dinosaur, Marquisucus. An ambush predator, Dinosaur is capable of incredible bursts of speed, though not for very long. Her claws, fangs, and tail blades are as sharp as obsidian and as strong as steel. Although their natural blades are the preferred weapon of the Marquisucus, God, my brain, their heads and tails are strong enough to turn reinforced buildings to rubble. Sheesh. Being apex predators of their entire world, the Marquisucus got to feed their brains enough to develop very complex brains. These complex brains allow for incredible hunting and combat strategies. What's this down here? Despite their intelligence, their lack of prehensile fingers has halted the development of their civilization. Yes! Yes! I love when people do this! This is one of my favorite things in sci-fi, is to have a sapient species that just doesn't have the means to create. The Mantelopes from All Tomorrows, Ted in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I love the idea of an animal or a species that has a very intelligent brain, but no means to manipulate their environment. So, it's basically just, you have all this ability to think, but you can't do anything with it. And of course this here, they used it for social development and combat and hunting strategies. And that's good, that's very interesting. And that's a kind of a sub thing, is I love when, because they can't use toolcraft or anything, they have to come up with other, more social advancements as a species. I love that kind of thing so much. So thank you very much, Haunted. You've fulfilled my dreams here. And to touch on the design, the arm blades, the spikes that come out of the tail, like just above the base of the tail, are so unique. And the massive jaws you've managed to use well there. Oh, I love how the tail is shaped. It's sort of almost insectoid. God, this is so cool! Everything about this rocks. I'm very happy I asked you to draw a dinosaur. This is fucking incredible. Well done. Well done. Next up is Salt Heap, who I gave to Gappy. Now, Salt Heap I imagine as one of these aliens that is clearly just a machine, like Clockwork or Atomics. My idea was that it's basically just a basin that... So imagine they're like a species that was made by another species to go down into salt mines, scoop up as much of the salt as possible in their kind of dish-shaped heads, and then just go back up to the surface with that supply of salt. So they're basically just like... their anatomy is almost like a Minecraft creeper with a dish on top, I guess. And they go down into mines, they pick up heaps of salt, like they just scoop it up with their heads, and then they just go back up to the surface. And that's my idea for them. They're not very much like a combat species, they just kind of exist. They're kind of useless as like an alien hero transformation, but I love aliens like that where their inherent use isn't combat. So that's Salt Heap. I'm curious to see what Gappy has actually done with this, because I doubt that they went the same route. As long as it's a small goober with a lot of salt on them, I'll be happy. Yep, and I got what I wanted! Yeah! Whoa! Okay, so this is quite different. So this is just a salt rock with these kind of like insect legs, and these sort of... Oh, that's interesting. The symbols that I imagined as like the eyes on either side of the dish on the head are like these ribbon things, and I see there's an actual pair of eyes like inside of the salt. Oh, this is super interesting. So what is this? What does this say? Alien name, Salt Heap. Species name, Floridium Breaker. Planet name, Sodinus. Salt Heap is a relatively tiny crustacean-like alien hailing from the Sodinus planet, where islands are made mostly of pure salt. As such, these creatures are coated in a sort of natural armor of salt rocks. Their striped tendrils serve as a means for grabbing and also as a mouth, being able to consume nutrients from their ends. Considering their low offensive capabilities from head-on, this alien is an ambush predator being able to bury itself in the ground. It can use its sharp legs to kill an unsuspecting prey. Oh, this is cool! Not what I was, like, hoping for, but it's way cooler, actually. This is such a good... I do like this idea... We sort of kept it between me and Gappy with this sort of, like, small shuffling thing that's covered in salt. But I feel like Gappy actually went a more interesting route. Definitely turned away from the robotic side of things that I went with, but... This is so cool. So these ribbon things are like grasping limbs and also mouths that can absorb nutrients. That's super interesting. And I love the description of the planet just being like a salt islands. Super cool. Well done, Gappy. This is really neat. I like this one. Now for Grain Drain, which I gave to Cat. And my my render here is ungodly powerful, you see. So the whole thing is that the idea of the alien is that there are, I think, shrews or mice or some animal that eats a lot of grains in the real world. And so I thought, okay, let's have a species called Grain Drain, where the whole point is that they're like a little rodent species that just eats a load of wheat and whatever. And the idea was that they're kind of like, they started out as a pest species, like a vermin on their world. Like there's some other sapient species that grows crops, and then this Grain Drain species comes along, and they eat all of the crops that they grow. And because, you know, they started out as just like a typical low-intelligence pest, but because they had such an abundant food source with all these crops, they had the ability and the opportunity to expand their brains, and eventually they also became sapient. And at that point, they stopped, you know, just stealing the grain, and they actually integrated into the society of the other sapient species, and they worked together. And that was my idea for Grain Drain species and their lore. Their powers, I imagine they don't really have any. They're just a rat that eats grain. So, they do have like a long prehensile tail, as you can see. They probably have enhanced hearing, but that was really it. They have like a bit of a scaly tummy to protect their, you know, their vital organs from damage, but yeah, that's it really. I'm very excited to see what Cat went with, because I doubt it was that, but I hope it was. Whoa! Oh! A lot of insect and like, insectoid looking aliens today. Whoa, so... Oh, I see! So, the head that I come up with is turned into, like, the hands here. It looks almost like mantis claws. That's super cute, though, that they're like little hands. I love the legs, the tail, the body shape, the head. This is really cool. Very different, but I like it. And I see, of course, the true colors of the species, where they're more green. They actually look more like a mantis here. So let's see what this says. Grain Drain is the Chaquetrix's sample of a Blaentid from the planet Blaentis. I probably pronounced that wrong. Despite their battle-ready appearance, Blaentid are actually a peaceful species of farmers. Their blade on their tail is actually used as a hoe in order to till the ground, and they have sacs on the end of their arms that they can use to suck up seeds to plant or water their crops. Okay, so they can have water in the sacs or seeds, so they can, you know, plant seeds or like basically just act as a watering can. to water the crops. The species are entirely vegetarian, so that is their main source of food. Oh, this is a very different route, and I'm happy with that. I always love when my idea is like completely different from the end product. This is super interesting. So they're a herbivorous insectoid species with seed sacs, and well, they have sacs in their arms that can be used for seeds or water. And they have like a tail that can be used to till the ground. It almost looks a bit like a sickle shape as well on the tail, so it could probably be used to like cut down crops as well. Ah, that's super cool. Well done, Cat. This is less goofy and more just cool. And I like this a lot. Thank you. Next up is Sloth Claw, which I gave to Lucy. And honestly, this might be my best illustration for the group. I'm very proud of how I managed to make the head shape and the body shape and stuff. I don't know. I'm just kind of proud of how I managed to actually doodle something okay. So my idea for Sloth Claw is it's just a big fat mammalian alien, that's fun to say, that just has like this massive, well, they have like a thumb and then just this gigantic claw. And I imagine that like in their evolution, they used to have 3 fingers, but 2 of them fused into the big like claw they have. So they have this kind of like shovel-like claw on their hand that they can just, you know, shovel shit up with. And that's it, really. They kind of got beaver, bear, and sloth. What are they called? Is it Megatherium? The sloth ancestor, I believe? Might be getting that wrong. I hope I'm not, because they're one of my favorite animals, but, well, favorite prehistoric animals. But, regardless, I'm very excited to see what Lucy went with. Let's have a cheeky little peek. Oh, hey! There we go. Okay, we kept the Megatherium theme. Oh, look at this. So, oh, this is so cool. I see the stripes. Stripe patterns are maintained. I see that my idea for the hand has been lost somewhat. I'm trying to see where my original sketch was used. Was it in the feet? It might be the foot shape. Yeah, I think it was used in the foot. Interesting. Not a complaint, though. I'm A-okay with, obviously, a different route being taken. Not what I was imagining, but actually kind of close to my version. I mean, the body's less chubby, but it's got the fluff, it's got the ears, it's got the kind of snout with the strange mouth. It has a tail, but not the same kind of tail, and it has the feet aren't as long as the ones that I went with mine, but I like the clawed feet. This is really, really cool. It's hard to say what I'm thinking when I see this, but it's like the idea that I had, I feel like was taken and then made complete, if that makes sense. Like, my version that I started with was kind of like, let's say, like, I don't know, you have the concept art phase for a design, then you have the final design that they settle on for, like, a show or whatever. I feel like mine was the concept art design, and then it was made into this. I feel like there was a very clear through line from my version to this one. And I feel like not a lot from my version changed when it went over to this one. But the stuff that was changed was done for the better, and the stuff that was kept, you know, well, I'm happy about it. So, again, I'm struggling to really find the words, but it's like everything I'm seeing here. It even has the watch on the arm. Like, this is really good. Basically, you took a design that I was hoping I would get, and you gave me that design, but even better. So, thank you, Lucy. This is a very welcome addition to the watch. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Next up is Tape Ape, who I gave to Mink. And I have to admit, I don't think Mink is going to be able to live up to this doodle. This thing is incredible. I'm way too proud of this. It's just a little goober. I imagine it's only like a foot tall. It's just this fuzzy bean with a tail that can shoot out tape. So it just shoots out. Think of like how Tarzan swings from vines in the movies and stuff. This alien shoots out tape from its tail, kind of like Zero from My Hero Academia, and just swings around on the tape. So it's just Tarzan with tape, basically. And that was my idea. To be fair, maybe it shouldn't have been called Tape Ape because apes shouldn't have tails. But to be fair, I think every one of my aliens that has ape in the name has a tail, so I feel like this is just a problem that that I seem to have. I can't make an ape without a tail. I've got some kind of problem. Let's have a look at the actual render that Mink made, though. I imagine it's not gonna be anything like this, and I'm worried that I might not like it as much, because I have to admit, I'm in love with this sketch. Oh, never mind, this is way better. Oh, she looks like, I get like a weird Muppet vibe for some reason. So I see, okay, I think the one on the left is the true colors, and the one on the right is the Chaquetrix's corrupted colors, just because they look more unusual. This is so cute. Her outfit's adorable. I see these weird, like, tendrils coming out of her. These are super cool. She's thick as fuck in the thigh department. Sheesh! Oh, she's so cute. Mink. This is so good. It's nothing like what I was imagining. I'm eating my words, though. I was like, oh, no, you can't do better than my stupid doodle. This has done it. This is way better. No. Is there any lore? There is, but there's also another image. What's on this image? The second image here. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. So it says Weird Doodle. Okay, so I see they were looking at... Oh, okay. Okay, so we see they were looking at the doodle I provided, and they were wondering if it was a helmet, a speaker, a soundboard ability, tentacle, fake, something on tail. So I'm really bad at reading cursive, so I'm struggling a little bit here. Hole to other speaker. So I'm wondering if they figured out what it was meant to be, because you see with my design, it was meant to be... The sketch that I gave them was like the eyes and nostrils. But it seems that they went down a very different route and they looked at it in a very different way, which is good. So, okay, so they kind of saw it as like this tentacle kind of thing. What are the other sketches here? Tape ape. Just a little picture of a monkey and a thumbs up. Me thinking. So that's what you look like trying to process this thing, huh? Tentacles that end in speakers, capable of recording and reproducing any sound like a tape. Ah! So that's what you went with. Okay, I see. So the reason that it's like these black tentacles is because it's like a record tape. Ah, you didn't think of tape as like cellophane tape. Oh, well, I'm happy that we've had this little confusion. That's super fun, because it means that we went down very different routes with our designs. I didn't even think about record tape. Oh, that's so smart, though. Okay, so she has, like, sound recording and reproducing abilities. That's so cool. I'm very happy that we had that little misunderstanding there, because we got a very different result. Kind of sad that, like, the cellophane tape ability seems to have been lost, but honestly, I feel like we got something way cooler and more interesting out of it. The stupid. I see that. Bang. Sound bullets. Boing. Sound jump. Okay. And then the real tape ape. Tail. So no ape. This is so good. So what's the lore for this beautiful lady? Before you read, I'd like to apologize because I think I wrote much more than what I really needed to. No, you did not. Trust me, the more the merrier. First, I would like to note that I didn't know that tape ape was a real word. The alien may not look to or be something expected because I'm quirky like that. Is tape ape a word? Hold on. Google. I just did it because it rhymed. Tape ape. Does ape tape? Okay, so ape tape is a real thing. It's a brand of tape. Okay, well that's funny then. So my stupid goofy idea actually is a real thing. Well, that would have worked with the pun name even better then. Oh well, I'm happy that we went down a different route. I am a little bit sad that we lost the cellophane tape ability, but we got this instead, and honestly I'm much happier. So let's have a look at the rest of the lore then. I'm learning things about tape today that I didn't think I ever would. So for the species name, I went with Sonitus commentaris. The species is not particularly strong, nor are they particularly agile. Their physical capabilities are similar to that of humans. Now, let's get to the funny part. The Sonitus commentaris have the innate ability to record, also known as remembering, any sound that they have heard, and reproduce it by their tentacle-like appendages that end in what we will call speakers. So for example, if they were to hear someone shout certain words, they wouldn't be able to reproduce it if they didn't know the translation of those words. So it's kind of normal for Sonitus commentaris to know one or more languages apart from the one they learn from where they live. Let's talk more about their speakers. These can make the sound come more loud or quieter than what it originally was. But that's kind of basic, right? So I gave them other abilities, and that is to be able to modify how the sound comes out, granting them the ability to make the sound go faster and change the shape of the sound. This is how the sound bullet is created. Other uses for the speakers are the ability to use them to give more power to their jump while making a sound, so sonic propulsion. One thing to mention is that each time the sound bullet is used, they can choose the sound that comes with the bullet. It can be a simple bang or any sound that you could think of. Hypothetically speaking, the speaker can make the sound come in any shape and speed, although this is something that has to be learnt and trained for. But Tape Ape should be able to learn to do this easily. Another thing to mention about their speaker is that the Sonitus commentaris can change the size and how long the speaker is. In addition, the speakers can retract inside the body to come out in another body part, like entering through the arm and appearing in the legs. Sonitus commentaris can have any number of speakers, but the majority of them have around 4 to 5 speakers in their body. I'm going to stop you here. This is the basics of Tape Ape species, but I might have more to say about their society. Joker's face goes here, and culture. If this is too much in terms of reading, or if you need to, you can skip it. When speaking of their culture, it is one that is very musically inclined. 99% of Sonitus commentaris know how to play an instrument or two. They know how to sing and dance instinctually. Their society puts the voice of Sonitus commentaris in a high pedestal. For them, the voice is a very important thing that is even sacred. Because of this, the majority, if not all, Sonitus commentaris tend to not speak and only do it by their speakers. This causes their speech to basically be a YouTube poop, meaning that they speak using sentences said by different people. For example, if they want to say, "I want an apple," each of those words would be said by a different person, but all coming from the same speaker. Okay, so they have Bumblebee language. Okay. If a Sonitus commentaris ever speaks to you without the speakers or their singing voice, that means that they appreciate you very much. As said before, their voice, the real one, is very important to them. The Sonitus commentaris tend to dress according to their favorite genre of music or favorite artist of said genre. Since I made the design and I like Vocaloids, a very normal amount I swear, I decided that Tape Ape would dress like Hatsune Miku. Peak! The Sonitus commentaris are the perfect singers for covers because if they hear the song once, they will record it and reproduce it without any error. So they mostly get hired to be singers in events like parties or just being the background musicians in bars or game shows. It's kind of rare to find a Sonitus commentaris that doesn't have anything to do with music. They do exist but are a very rare sight. The majority of Sonitus commentaris will always have music in their life, even if they work as doctors, for example. They most likely will have a band on the side in their day-to-day lives. Sonitus commentaris normally have only one speaker out, and it normally comes out of their heads. So this is everything about my funny monkeys that I wanted to say. Well, that was a lot, and that's good. I think I struggled a bit to take all of that information in, I'm gonna be honest, but it was very interesting. I like all of this stuff about they have a very musical society, and their outfits are very much influenced by the music they enjoy. And they have this unique way of speaking, and like they're hired by other species to carry out all these different roles. And I gotta admit, this is such a different route from where we started with Tape Ape being an ape that shoots tape. This is such a different route. This is amazing, though. Thank you so much, Mink. I'm left speechless, partly because I think my brain is catching up with all that lore, and partly just because I'm blown out of, like, my mind is blown by how unique all of this is. So, genuinely, I hope it's coming across that you've left me dumbfounded with amazement. Really well done. This was... It's just such a good alien. Well done. Next up is Critical Mist, which I gave to Dunkel Comics. Now, my version here, it's basically, like, the idea of the alien is that it's like a living water vapor that needs a special suit in order to, like, maintain a semi-solid form. So the idea is that it's basically this living cloud that uses this special suit to keep its water molecules in a certain structure, and it causes this kind of limp-limbed, goofy, cartoonish body that it has. And that's really all I had. It's basically just like a stretchy cloud person. But let's see what Dunkel came up with. Whoa! What the hell? It's like Genesect! Oh, I love whenever someone does this, whenever they give the transformation Kiri's unique pupil shapes in the eyes. That's so fun. Oh, this is awesome. I love the chromastone colors it kind of has, actually. Oh, I love this. It's like some another insectoid alien. This is super cool. I love the leg shape and the arm blades here. Not what I was expecting at all. I'm struggling to see where my original sketch was incorporated here, actually. I don't know if it even was. Let's have a look at the lore, I guess. This alien is a biomechanical life form known as a Murksfaro. I probably pronounced that wrong. These creatures are known for being perfected organisms with their design. CM has... Oh, Critical Mist. Critical Mist has hard exo armor, a healing factor, evolved biology, and a misty substance she can manipulate into weaponry. Most notably, the mist can come out of her arms and solidify into blades. Okay, so we went very different routes. We actually almost kind of both went with the containment suit kind of thing. I went with like a suit that keeps their body solid, and Dunkel went with a suit that... like an exo armor. That's super interesting. This is a very different alien, but I hesitate to say that it's better because it's so different, you know? Like, it's not a better version because it's hardly anything alike, but really cool. Well done. This is a super good addition. Alright, coming up on our last three aliens. Next up is the one that I gave to Gothic. This one is Darkside, and what I went with here is... I want this to feel very mechanical and very alien. I mean, obviously they're all aliens, but I wanted this one to be kind of like these orbs that float around each other. Sort of like due to electromagnetism. So these electromagnetic like fields that are produced by the orbs causes them to orbit around one another, and it makes this kind of like body that's connected by these little like electrical strings, I guess you'd call them. And it makes this very unique body shape. In terms of powers, I imagine that they've got like electromagnetic field manipulation, and that's kind of it. The reason they have the name Darkside, I was imagining, because, you know, it just sounds like a space term, because it's like the dark side of the moon, and I want these aliens to feel very much just like bizarre aliens. So let's see what Gothic went with here. Oh, it's a golem! That's so much cooler! Hell yeah, I see. Okay, I'm glad that the electrical, like, string connecting the arms to the body was maintained. And the legs actually are kind of similar to my vision. I mean, I didn't really sketch them very well. They look like fucking Wellingtons, but I was imagining they're like these big chunky metal legs that can kind of like keep the body weighed down. Because the body's obviously like electromagnetic fields keeping these orbs floating around. There's nothing really tying them down, so the boots are very heavy to keep the body grounded. And that, obviously, this is more like rock than metal, like I was imagining, but this is super cool. The idea of like the big thick legs was maintained, even though I didn't even show the legs in the original sketch. This is so cool. The head tricks. I think most people today have used the head tricks as well, because I think people know that that's just my favorite. But let's have a look at the lore for this thing. I see there's another sketch here that shows off a little bit more of its design. Interesting. Alright, let's have a look at what this thing does. Diraki Innis Fritzari. Homeworld. Diraki Saria. Sapience level. Sapient. Locomotion. Flying, walking. Diet. Light. Okay. Appearance. They are a large, golem-like alien with a rocky appearance, a result of their stone-like material and evolutionary adaptation to mimic rocks. Their hands are large, ball-shaped, with segmented fingers that float just off the surface of the hand. A head resembling that of a human is located around the middle of their chest, giving the impression of a massive hunching back. Rock plates form a shoulder-like structure, while the lower part of their body tapers into pointed shapes, similar to stalactites from a cave roof. A dark anti-light energy is visible, connecting their otherwise disconnected body parts, including their hands and fingers. Abilities. Absorbs light from its rocky exterior, which powers its body, enables 360-degree vision, produces anti-light beams. Anti-light beams. Operate like high-energy lasers or solid light constructs. Absorb any surrounding light they make contact with, create zones of pure darkness, provide additional energy when absorbing light. Additional abilities. Flight, capable of controlled swift movement through the air. Rock Collapse, can disassemble into a cluster of small rocks similar to Lodestar. Super Strength, tremendous physical power. Limb Separation, hands and limbs can move independently of the main body. Water Affinity, presence near water generates powerful waves and increases water flow speed. Oh, so they've got their own, like... It's like how the moon affects the tides on Earth. That's super cool. Rock Limb Formation, can draw in nearby rocks to form unfunctional legs. These rocks merge and compress into sturdy limbs. Ooh. Rock Regeneration, can repair or replace damaged parts by regenerating destroyed rocks. History. They are ambush predators that lie dormant during the day in their collapsed rock forms, absorbing light to store energy. When prey approaches, they swiftly reassemble and absorb it. This strategy allows them to conserve energy for the night, as their planet lacks a moon to reflect light. At night, they actively hunt, targeting prey that emits light, which they absorb to sustain themselves in the darkness. Their dependence on light makes them vulnerable in absolute darkness unless they have previously accumulated enough light to maintain their power. When they are deactivated, they can be killed by cracking their head in half or completely breaking it. God, this is so cool. So they're just like light-absorbing flying golems. God, that's awesome. Gothic, well done. This is amazing. This is so cool. I love golems. I love chunky bodies. I love unique powers. This has all of that. This is amazing. And the head watch, the Chaquetrix, thank you so much. Gothic, I know you struggled a lot with getting this done. Like, I believe Gothic submitted this just before the deadline. So I was a little bit worried that it was maybe going to be like half-baked or like it was a little bit rushed. I'm very happy to say you have not done that. This has took time, care. It feels just as fleshed out as any of the others. This is really well done. You should be really proud of this. This is such a good addition. And I've been saying that for a lot of these, but it's because it's true. These are all really good additions, and this one is no different. This is fantastic. Well done. Second to last, here is Terra Firma, which is a joke on, obviously, the term Terra Firma. I gave this one to Sekna, and my doodle, I was imagining, it's basically, the body is kind of like how you have tortoise shells. The body is a shell that just along... So think of like how snakes, there's that typical image of a snake inside of a pot, right, that rises out of the pot, with like snake charming. My idea was that this species is basically just a very long snake-like creature that lives inside of a shell. So it just, like, its body is all coiled up inside of the shell, and then when it wants to eat or whatever, it just, like, shoots out these long coils of its body out. And there's, like, it can stretch out a few 100 feet, which you wouldn't think looking at it, because it's so, like, condensed inside of the shell. And that was my idea. It's basically just, like, an ambush, like, long distance snake in a box, because we don't really have any snake aliens for the watch, so I wanted to sort of incentivize one to be made. But let's see what Sekna did, because I only really gave the face, so I'm curious what has happened here. There are multiple images, so I'm very curious what this all means. Whoa! What the hell? What is this? Okay, I see the Chaquetrix. I'm struggling to comprehend what this is. It's like this, so it's clearly like a plant-based life form. So, the face that I provided, I think, has been turned into like a chest mouth thing. This is super interesting. What are all these other images? There's like this one, which vaguely looks similar, but it looks very different in proportion and stuff. There's like all these extra limbs. And then there's this kind of like plant with legs. Sort of night design. And then this little seed thing. What are these? Is this like the creature's line? This looks like a Digimon evolution line. It's like all the stages. What is this? I need to look at the lore for this. These designs are super interesting, but what the fuck is it? What am I looking at? Here we go. Abilities. Terraforming. Can change the state of land into a forest. This includes reshaping the ground into cliffs and hills and a water source like a river or large ponds. Land remains after transformation ends, but dies in approximately 3 weeks. Interesting. Extension. Can create a numerous amount of extensions that inhabit the forest and are under the command of terra firma. They die in about 3 weeks after the transformation ends. Oh! Okay, so the aliens got the power to, like, manipulate the environment and turn it into a forest. Fucking domain expansion. And can make, like, minions, or, like, offshoots of itself that protect that environment. Ah, that's super interesting. So that's what all these other designs are then. I guess these are like its offshoots. What else does it have for the lore here? Seed pods. The pods at the waist are used to develop new species, but can also be used to grow new forests, allowing the terra firma's roots to expand the land it can control. It's making me think of Fushi from To Your Eternity, with like his roots spreading out to control the land. That's super cool. Space survival, we all know it. Branching, 1,000 arms. By the power of the core on its back, it can increase the density and number of arms, most of which form like branches. The same arms come from the mouth, but the rest... Hold on. So, okay, I think there's a bit of a typo here. Some arms come from the mouth, but the rest split the back open, showing a rush of concentrated energy. Feeding. The extensions can leave the forest to gather food sources that are offered to terra firma. Eating other forms of life, mostly animals, provides strength to the species and allows for new types of extensions to be made. Extension generation. Eating animal life allows for the creation of new extensions. Drawbacks. High energy consumption. Making extensions takes a lot of energy, especially if it's heavily offense-based. Currently, Sentinel Towers, Thorn Knights, and Low Lurkers take the most to make. Immobile. You can't move from the spot you're standing in until transformation ends. The Predators. Hellmites are a highly industrious species that actively seek out seraphic arbor for their own gain. So that's what the species is called, seraphic arbor. A small group of them know of Kiri's ability to transform into one and will stop at nothing until they catch her. Ah, cool. So there's like a whole group of villains that want this specific alien. That's super fun. Is there some lore that I missed then? Because this is saying like, yeah, seraphic arbor. Did I miss some of the provided lore? Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. Right, that explains all this confusion. Terra firma, species, seraphic arbor. Planet, unknown. Size, approximately 114 meters. Fucking hell, she's huge. Well, that might be like with the full terrain, rather than just the thing itself. They are an invasive fauna-type species that use cosmic energies to fuel their growth. They are incapable of proper movement and thus are stationary. They have a core right behind the presumed head that stores and uses cosmic energy to be used later or for body repairs. The harnessed energy is then used to create forests with the species at the center. It continues to harness energy such as sunlight and other forms to create nutrients to grow mobile extensions of itself. These extensions are plant-like but have various functions depending on their structure. Currently known extensions, or goons, are Trappopods, Low Lurkers, Sentinel Towers, Sprouts, and Thorn Knights. Kiri's transformation is more swamp-based due to the DNA attempting to absorb the corrodium. This gave her some bumps on her fingers. These bumps contain some of the energy. Ah, cool! So the corrodium process has actually mutated the species somewhat. That's so cool. I love that. The species reproduce similar to the way plants do, but rely on passing energy to the seed pods. They are then eaten and spat out, now with a coating shielding it from space debris and growing once landing on a planet regardless of habitability by usual standards. This reproduction method led to accidental appointment of a predator. Highly industrious species now seeks this species due to how valuable they are as a means of creating various materials from cosmic energy. Oh, awesome. And what was this last bit of lore down here? These are some of the extensions. I couldn't draw them all, but these should do. I drew Trappopods. They walk and trap what they find. Sprouts consume less energy and are abundant. They act like scouts and can grow to be other extensions if the conditions are met. And the one with the weapon is a Thorn Knight. Self-explanatory, some can be poisonous. It also has a small core bursting with energy as well. I feel bad that I read this in a bit of the wrong order, but this is so good. So, okay, I think I've gathered the idea is they're the species of plant that absorbs cosmic energy. They create these forests of their offspring, and, well, not offspring, but like their, like, minions that carry out all these various different niches, and they just create this, like, controlled environment. And then they have seeds that become their offspring that they shoot off into space. They land on other planets and then continue the cycle. That's so cool. So it's just this process of, you know, like terraforming, creating this environment of stuff, of just these plant-like species, and then just sending it off to other worlds. So there's like this idea that there's all these worlds out there in the universe that are just partially terraformed by this species. And I imagine they live longer than 3 weeks. It's just that's how long the environment lasts after Kiri's transformation. Or maybe they only last 3 weeks, regardless. But oh, that's so interesting. Sekna, you've really just blown it out of the water with this. Wow. So there's the main body, the version with all the arms sprouting out of it, and then its like, minions. Oh, Sekna, this is incredible. I have no words. There's so much here. You've done so much with it. You've really made such a unique thing from just a head that I gave you and a stupid name. This is amazing. This is such a unique addition to the watch. I'm speechless. Thank you so much. Next up, and our final alien for the video, is one by my good buddy Jamie, Whalebark. And I imagined it's basically this big sea snake kind of thing. And it has like kind of this beak on the end of its tail. And the beak on the tail is the actual mouth. So what you're seeing here is, at the front is obviously the head. And it has, like, a big eye, it has a fin on top, it has this large floppy ear, a bit like a dog's, certain dog breeds have. And the mouth on the front of the head opens up to release this, like, powerful sonic blast. If you've seen the Thunder Drums from How to Train Your Dragon, like, this alien is meant to be kind of a mix of Thunder Drums and Skuldrons. Like, it's got a kind of a Skuldron body shape and a Thunder Drum ability. Whereas at the end of the tail is a beak, and that's the actual mouth that's used for eating. The mouth on the head is, like, there's no digestive tract, it's purely just for producing noise. And that's really my only idea. There's these 4 fins on the body that it can swim around with. It's kind of slow. But, I don't know. That was my idea for this. I'm very excited to see what Jamie did. Let's have a look. Oh, baby! Oh, it's so cute! Oh, I see. Okay, so the mouth shape has been maintained. The eye has been made a lot bigger. The big floppy ears are still there. And I see the fin on top of the head has been made quite a bit bigger. And what I was imagining as a neck has been turned into the actual length of the body. Oh, Jamie, this is really... You really took the original sketch and turned it into a much more unique shape. Oh, this is really cool. I love that the tail actually kind of looks a little bit like Toothless's tail from How to Train Your Dragon. We've still got a How to Train Your Dragon vibe in this design somewhere. Oh, this is so cool. Does it have legs? It's kind of like this weird ink blot thing at the bottom here. What does this do? Let's have a look at the lore. Whalebark is Kiri's sample of the Marianus vulpes species. Given form. Marianus vulpes are a species of semi-aquatic mammals that have adapted to extreme environmental conditions. Their oceanic world is subject to alarmingly high tides. They inhabit a Class 5 oceanic world, which has been caught in the pull of a magnetar. The high mineral content in the planet's oceans has resulted in bodies of water being ejected from the planet's surface into space. They survive this phenomenon by transitioning between water pockets during the rising tide. The rapid compression and decompression has resulted in, frankly, some very odd physiology. Their whip-like tails aid in balance and locomotion, and they possess an open circulatory system. Rapid pressure changes usually cause the bends to occur, but in this case, the excess pressure is compensated for by an oily membrane that weeps from the pores. This acts as a buffer for extreme pressure and altitude changes. Mariana's Vulpes also possess incredible tracking and navigation abilities, sensitive hearing, low light vision, echolocation, and a natural form of LiDAR. Their sail fin aids in discerning air/water currents and breaking through oncoming tidal waves. Jamie, this is so cool! Oh my god! That's awesome! Their planet is so interesting! And the powers! The powers are super cool. They have this oily membrane. They've got like a LiDAR, and I'm just reciting what I've just read, but that's awesome. I love how you've incorporated real science, fictional science, and made this super unique planet and this even more bizarre life form. Whale bark is... You've ditched the sonic howl idea that I had, which is why it was called whale bark, as a reference to, you know, whale sharks, but bark instead. But this is better. You've given me a water pressure adjustable sea pup. This is so good. I love the angler lure as well. Good addition always. This is what the bulb dog should have been. I'm just saying. Oh, thank you so much. I love this. I love all of these. But with all of that said, that is all 14 of the aliens in our second roster for the series. If you want to see a part 3, get this video to 1,400 views and 140 likes, same as last time. So if this video meets that criteria, we'll do a part 3. And I think in part 3, what we'll do is we will have the artist create ultimates, where... Because now that we have a full 28 aliens from these first 2 videos, that's 28 options for artists to take. So that way, you know, there's more options and we're less likely to have like 5 people make an ultimate for the same alien. So I think next time we'll have them just pick one of the aliens at random, I guess. Well, pick whichever ones they want, and then they can give them an ultimate form. And then I will look at the ultimates, and maybe that could be the game, is I'll try and guess what species it's an ultimate for or something. Could be fun. But yeah, so get this video to those requirements for a part 3. Thank you so much for the artists who participated today. Thank you so much to our channel members for helping support the channel. You can help support the channel like them if you become a member today. And with all that said, I think that's about all I have to say with this video. Sorry for my voice in this one, and yeah. Adios, fellow heroes.